What's up, everybody? I am Neil Duffy. Welcome to MI Floridian. I wanted to take an opportunity to kind of explain to you who I am, who my family is, and what this channel is going to be all about. Real quick, we've got my son, my 5-year-old Ryan, in the back. Ryan, say hi to everybody.
Say hi, bud.
He's being super shy. And I have my gorgeous wife, Annie, behind the camera. If she wants to flip it around and say hi or not, it's up to her. Here, everybody say hi. She's gorgeous. She's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Anyway, we're on our way to Florida's, I don't know what it's called, something North Central Florida Outdoor Expo. So we're going to talk a little bit about our story and why we're doing what we're doing, why we moved from the Metro Detroit area to the Central Florida area, Crystal River to be exact. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about our story and we'll get to know each other a bit and let you guys know kind of what I plan to do with this channel. What up, everybody? My name is Neil Duffy. This channel is called the MI Floridian, and this video is just going to be a kind of vlogging style video. I'm gonna just kind of get to know you, I figured it'd be nice to launch it with a video that you understand who I am, where I'm from, and kind of my goals for this channel. MI Floridian. Obviously, MI is the abbreviation for Michigan, and my wife's son and I, we moved down here to Florida this past October of 2022. I grew up, I'm 39 years old, I'll be 40 in October here, but I grew up, I was born and bred, Metro Detroit, had a wonderful life. My parents still married to this day. In fact, this is my parents' house. We currently live with my parents and are building a house in Crystal River, Florida. And here is my 5-year-old, who we will meet in depth a little bit more later in the video here. But he was camera shy about 5 minutes ago, and now he's super excited to be on camera with me. So, kind of, MI Floridian, why? Well, first and foremost, obviously I'm from Michigan, and despite moving to Florida, I still love Michigan. I even have a heart tattoo on my hand here, for home is where the heart is. The reason we moved to Florida was I have had a long, strong distaste for winter and cold and ice and all that seasonal grossness. Essentially, wintertime is hell for me. I do not care for winter, although I'm very well versed in all things wintertime. It's just not for me. I much prefer a tropic climate. I've always dreamed of living in Florida. I've always dreamed of fishing in the salt water. Here comes the dog with the world's loudest toy. There he goes. See you later, buddy. But yeah, winter, if you're from Michigan, you know what winter's like. And as someone who dealt with depression and all sorts of issues in that realm, which I'm not shy about, I think it's important to talk about it, but that's not what we're here for today. Seasonal depression always just crushed my soul. So my wife and I both agree that tropical paradise is where it's at. And me being a big sportsman, I grew up fishing. I caught my first fish. My first recollection of my first fish was a walleye that I caught with my grandpa Duffy on his boat on Lake St. Clair when I was about Ryan's age, maybe a little bit younger. If I can find the picture, I'll throw it in there, but I doubt I'll be able to find it. That was a walleye for my first fish. You know, that's kind of big deal for a kid. Most kids catch a bluegill, something, you know, small, right? Sunfish, whatever. But I grew up fishing. My dad always took me fishing. We would go up north to my uncle Steve and Aunt Vanessa's cottage, and on Horsehead Lake in Mecosta. And my dad and I would wake up really early, bundle up, even though it's summertime. We'd bundle up, and just Dad and I would go trolling for pike, whatever would hit in Horsehead, just to get a fishing line in the water. And I grew up fishing. I loved it. The minute we got up north, the minute we got to Duffy camping, anywhere, I was, boom, down at the water, feet in the water. I remember distinctly my parents were always like, Neil, do not get your shoes wet. So my solution was take my shoes off, but not my socks, and get in the water as soon as I possibly could. I've always loved being around the water. And as soon as I got there, I would want to jump in the water or get my fishing pole out. From like 6, 7 years old, I can remember that. I had a strong background in fishing and being around the water. I didn't start hunting until I was 18 years old. My 18th birthday was a very eventful day for adult Neil, or Duff. All my friends call me Duff, by the way. You're welcome to call me Duff. That is actually my preferred name. I like when people call me Duff. However, I don't hate my name. I love the name Neil. I think it's such a cool name. My 18th birthday, I hit up Gander Mountain. I bought my first gun ever. Like I said, I didn't grow up in a hunting family. My dad hunted before I was born, but my mom always ended up burning the deer meat. How that's possible, I don't know, because my mother, 100% Italian, and probably the best cook I've ever met in my life, aside from my grandma and grandpa, her parents. My mother's cooking is insane. So how dear old mom could ever burn deer meat is beyond me. But she burnt a couple of my dad's deer, and my dad just said, all right, message received, I'm done hunting. Plus, he worked his butt off. I mean, my dad is my hero, and he legitimately taught me everything I know about working hard, being a good person, raising a child. I try to emulate my father the best I can. All right, everybody, I'm with my little dude here, my wife Annie as well, that you met earlier, but I wanted to give Ryan a minute or two to introduce himself. So he's our only child. He is 5 years old. Can you say hi? Can you look at the camera and say hi to everybody? Oh,
he's super shy.
Yeah, he's scared of the camera, even though he wants to make his own YouTube channel. Is that right? What do you want your channel to be like?
Legos and I don't know.
You gotta speak a little bit louder. Mario and Legos. And do you want to do any hunting and fishing? Yeah. What do you like? Do you like fishing?
I want to go hunting with a real life gun.
Yeah. Well, we gotta learn.
Yeah, we have to
good
build up
safety
to that
first. What are you most excited to go hunting for?
Sharks and deer and all the stuff in the wild.
All the stuff in the wild. Sharks and deer and all the stuff in the wild. Well, we're not going to hunt sharks, but we can go fishing for sharks. Mm-hmm. So, can you tell them how old you are?
5.
Can you take your hands out of your mouth?
Can you tell them?
Take your hands out of your mouth.
Can you tell them what grade you're in?
Kindergarten.
Did you just start kindergarten?
Yeah.
Yeah, this past week, right? Do you remember when you caught that big snook? The really big snook.
When you were on the
Remember?
boat, the guy called you onto the boat and he helped you catch that really big fish. You remember that?
Was that the captains at Hang 'em High? Yeah. Were they super nice to you? They were. That was at Shrimp Landing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, didn't we eat food? We had some pretty good food, huh? Yeah. Do you like living in Crystal River or going to Crystal River right now while the house is being built?
Do you like going to the freezer?
Well, the only thing I like there is the freezer because,
It's delicious, isn't it?
yeah, but I don't like the ocean because I think it's gonna wave me away.
Oh, it's going to wave you away? Well, that was Daytona. We live in Crystal River where it's calmer. So it's not going to wave you away. So we'll swim a lot and we'll go spearfishing and collect fiddler crabs.
No.
Remember when we went blue crabbing, you, me, and Mama?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that
That's
some more.
fun.
What was your favorite thing about living in Michigan?
My favorite thing was all of it.
All
All
of it.
of it.
Yeah, Michigan is pretty great,
And Spirit.
but the
Yeah.
best part.
Well, they have Spirit
they have
Halloween's
Spirit
down here
yeah.
too, baby.
Yeah, I want to go there tomorrow.
What are you most looking forward to about the new house?
Building Dad's Legos.
I made a promise that he could build all of my Legos. He has never played with my Legos. I have a massive Lego collection, and he's a little chip off the old block. And I told him
played-
he's old enough now, but we got to get into our new house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I can't wait so long.
It's only a couple more months.
Plus,
We're
Yeah.
really
you, have,
close.
you have your own ton of Legos that you
Yep.
can play with here.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you play with my Legos and I play with your Legos.
Sounds like a deal.
How about we all play with your Legos together?
Yeah, yeah,
Doesn't Mama
So-
like building Legos too?
yeah.
I got a question. What is your favorite fish to eat?
Tuna and salmon.
Those are your favorite to eat?
Yeah.
And how do you like to eat them?
I like to eat them sushi.
Sushi? So raw? Do you like rice with it or just the fish?
Just the fish and soy sauce.
Do you know what that's called?
No,
Sashimi. Can you say sashimi?
no, I don't want to.
Okay. All right. Well, are you all done?
No,
No? You want to tell them anything else?
yeah.
What do you want to tell them?
There's a big park here and I'm taking swimming lessons.
That's right.
Mhm.
And what else did you do this past winter? You were on a team. You had red jerseys.
Oh, baseball!
Yeah.
And what do you
Awesome.
want to get into? What sports do you want to play, or what activities do you want to do?
I want to play soccer and I want to play
Didn't you say you wanted to do karate?
Yup.
yes, and I want to do golf.
That's right.
And what do you want to be when you grow up?
Doctor, chef,
That's a new one.
and
Didn't you want to be a Lego builder
yeah,
and a movie producer?
and a Lego
Maker?
Lego
Designer.
maker gamer.
A
A
Lego
Lego-
Maker gamer.
Probably he wants to make Lego games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna make one with me in it,
hmm
but I don't know how to make me when I grow
Well,
up.
you'll learn when you go to college, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You got a long way before that happens.
Yeah.
But you got to learn. You got to listen really good in school.
And I also want to be a boss.
A boss. What about owning your own business?
Like Daddy does.
Yeah, and a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep. It's a lot of work too, though.
I'm gonna be a grown-up YouTuber too.
Don't be too fast to grow up. Let's
Yeah.
keep your feet under the table. All right, buddy. You want to tell the crowd anything else?
No.
Are you looking forward to sharing our new house with everybody and doing some hunting and fishing with me?
Yeah.
All right.
They're gonna follow our videos.
Let's hope so. Why don't you ask them to?
Are you gonna follow our videos?
You should say, what do all the other YouTubers that you watch say? Like and subscribe, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to say smash the like button?
No.
No.
All right, before we go, can you tell me about that fish? The round one with all the spikes. What's its name?
I don't want to say it.
But they've never heard. They don't know what it is. It's got little spikes and it's round and it's a ball. What's it called? I just wanted you to say it once, but I'm not going to antagonize you, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Say goodbye to everybody. Oh, am I getting a hug? Thank you. Love you. All right, say goodbye.
Bye.
So yeah, 18-year-old me, my dad was a big influence on me, but he didn't hunt. I didn't grow up hunting. I bought a shotgun on my 18th birthday and got my first tattoo. I had all kinds of facial piercings. I wasn't allowed to get piercings, but I had 7 facial piercings. I had eyebrow piercings, lip piercings, the big ears that I still have today, plus normal earrings. I had a big, long goatee. I was what the kids in the late 90s, early 2000s called a freak. Big metalhead, essentially. And I went out and I bought myself a Mossberg, or a Maverick, I'm sorry, a Maverick. I think it was an 88 12-gauge pump shotgun. And that was my first shotgun. And I also bought a dozen Flambeau decoys. I bought a couple of Duck Commander calls before even Duck Dynasty was a thing. And I found the internet. I found the refugeforums.com. Forums were big back in the early 2000s. And I researched everything I could about identifying ducks, calling ducks. I would practice in my car. I ate, slept, and breathed duck hunting as soon as I turned 18. And I taught myself how to hunt. I met a few folks, few people on the forum, the refuge forums, and I had started duck hunting. And I would drive around with my cousin, who's younger than me, my cousin Derek. You'll see him in future videos, I'm sure, but he lives back in Michigan, and he hates Florida, and he doesn't want to come down here when it's hot. I don't blame him, so maybe towards the winter, I hope we'll see him in some of my videos. He is my best friend, and I owe him so much. I love him. He's more than just like a brother to me. He is literally my best friend. He's dug me out of holes in some of my toughest times, and he's been there with me through thick and thin since the day he was born. There's no one on this planet outside of my wife, kid, and parents who means more to me than my cousin Derek, and I'm sure he'll watch this, and I hope he knows how much he means to me. That was the hardest part about moving to Florida, frankly. All my friends and family who are going to watch this, I miss you guys. I love you guys. But I was literally about that close to not moving because I didn't know what I would do without my cousin Derek. He was my partner in crime, and we were driving around one day in a subdivision, and we saw geese. We saw Canadian geese. So many. You couldn't even imagine how many geese we saw. So in our teenage brains, we're like, well, it's in a subdivision, so we can't hunt them with our guns. Can we sneak up on them with knives and swords and, like, decapitate them? And that can be how we hunt them since we can't shoot guns? And, of course, like dummies, I ask on the internet. I was on another forum, Michigan Sportsman, which to this day, if I post, it gets brought up, and we're talking 22 years ago. It still gets brought up to this day. But yeah, I asked on that web forum, and I got roasted, as I should. I mean, if some kid did that today, I would probably roast him too, because it's just funny, obviously. But that was kind of my history. You know, I'd been duck hunting. I didn't really deer hunt too much because I didn't have a rifle. I found out my dad had a .308 the whole time when I was a kid. It was just packed way away in the attic, locked up, and I had no idea we had anything in the house as far as guns. We didn't have alcohol. We didn't have anything. Back to my hunting and fishing life. Essentially, I spent the next 20-something years honing my skills. Basically anything that you can call at, turkeys, duck, whatever. I excel at that. I think I'm a pretty dang good turkey hunter as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like down here. I've yet to turkey hunt down here in Florida, but I was more than happy, even at a young age, like in my early 20s, I was more than happy to go turkey hunting and just be the caller. Like, I didn't need to pull the trigger. My cousin shot his first turkey, my buddy shot his first turkey before I ever even held a gun while hunting turkey. There's something about the calling that just, the thrill of, you know, enticing a creature and fooling it, making it think that you are one of its kin. Like, that pursuit is what I enjoy most about hunting. And in Michigan, there's not, at least as far as I was aware of, there's not much in the way of calling for deer. I know in some states calling is pretty prolific for deer, but I don't know the culture in Michigan to be that way. I've only shot 2 deer in my life. Neither of them were bucks. They were actually quite small does on Harson's Island. I used to hunt a lot on Harson's Island. But I have an extensive history of hunting, self-taught. I even brought it full circle and started bringing my dad hunting. I showed my dad how to duck hunt, how to goose hunt. We went deer hunting, little lizard. So I really enjoy bringing my dad along. He's in some of my videos in the future. I have a few videos ready to go. He's in a couple of my videos fishing out here, so now I'm kind of showing him the ways of fishing down here. The goal behind this channel is to kind of help chronicle as well as help. I don't know what I'm doing down here. I know nothing about this stuff down here, right? So being down here in Florida and basically starting from scratch, kind of like I did when I was 18, learning how to duck hunt. But now, like, almost nothing I know about salmon fishing, trout fishing, fly fishing, yellow perch fishing, walleye fishing, all the fishing I did growing up as a kid for the first 40 years of my life almost doesn't apply down here. It's a whole different world, and I'm loving every second of it, relearning things. Never spearfished a day in my life. I really didn't dive much. I used to do some diving on some wrecks up in Alpena when I lived in Alpena, but I have severe ear problems. I've had 3 surgeries on my ears before I was even 15, so I've got to learn how to regulate better and get into spearfishing. Alright, so I'm here with my wife, Annie. We got a little guy in the back, Ryan. Ryan, say hi. Say it real loud. It's back there. Anyway, I figured since I got my wife with me, we'll talk to you guys while we're driving home about our decision to, I guess, to move to Florida, why we moved to Florida. When we met, did you want to move to Florida right away?
Yes. I wanted to move to Florida for a couple of years before we
But
dating.
it wasn't like a factor in our relationship, like getting together, essentially. At least I don't remember it.
No, it was just a common goal.
Yeah. So we had bought our house back in Michigan together before we got married. We were engaged, but we weren't married. Obviously, little dude wasn't born yet. But I think when we bought the house, we knew, at least we planned to move to Florida, right?
Yeah.
We had the thought that we were gonna live in our house for 7 years, which we did. But we came to find out, what was the deal with that anyway? Like, what was the stipulation? we thought we had to stay in the house for 7 years. Why don't you explain it?
So we had a grant for the house. It was the first time homeowners or home buyers grant. And we were told that you had to be in the house for 7 years at minimum, or you're going to have to pay back all of the grant money that you were given.
For the first time home buyer thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so when we listed our house, we actually found out that wasn't true. I guess it's kind of a blessing in disguise to a degree, because if we had moved earlier, there's no way we would have doubled what we bought our house for. We sold our house last summer of 22. And if you guys can remember, the housing market was crazy. And we actually ended up selling our house for twice the amount we bought our house for, which was really nice because that gave us a good buffer to get down here. We didn't profit twice as much. God, I wish we did. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, our goal was to move down here, and we wanted to get it done before homeboy back there started, like, I say real school, but grade school. Yeah, grade school. So he just started kindergarten this past Thursday down in Florida. School starts much, much, much earlier than compared to Michigan. So Ryan is officially in grade school now. But we wanted to do that before he had established friends, you know, make it easier. But I think the mutual goal between the two of us was, I know it doesn't look like it now for me at least. My wife is gorgeous, but me, I used to be really into fitness and weightlifting and healthy eating and all that stuff. I actually went through a drastic weight loss through exercise and diet. I lost 80 pounds, and I've always been into gardening. I've been gardening, like vegetable gardening, since I was 9 years old, I think. But she grew an appreciation for the vegetable side of gardening. Your mom always did, like, the
My
flowers.
mom is a very big gardener.
Yeah. So when she bought the house with me back in Michigan, I had kind of taught her how to garden for vegetables, for sustenance. And over the years, we kind of fell in love with it deeper and deeper as an appreciation for our eating habits. She's a former personal trainer, certified personal trainer. And me being a chef, knowing where my food comes from, I should say. I got a cat hair chilling in my nose or something because my nose is itchy. But anyway, so that was kind of the groundwork for our homestead idea. I really like the idea of homesteading. I'm still not super convinced that you are like gung-ho about homesteading, but you at least support it.
Yeah.
And she does soap making, bath bombs, stuff like that. So what are you looking forward to on the homestead?
Fresh food, having goats.
Having what?
Goats.
Goats. Tell them about goats and why you want goats.
They're cute and they're fun, and I want to squeeze them.
And you want to what?
Squeeze them.
Like literally?
No, I just want to give them hugs and have cute little animals.
Well, what are you going to use them for? Because nothing on the farm can live on our farm without being profitable.
We're gonna use the goat's milk to sell to soapers. I can make soap with it. And the chickens for the fresh eggs.
Yeah,
that's gonna be
for sure.
a drastic change, which is gonna be awesome.
And meat chickens.
Yes.
And the goats too. We're going to eat the goats.
You're not gonna eat my cute goats.
Not the... We are... Okay. I said we're going to have... the animals can't be on the farm without making an income. Like, I'm sorry, but the rent's too high. And if you're going to live on my farm, you got to pay rent. So, we're going to eat some of the goats, but we're going to make an exception for a tiny little itty-bitty couple of goats.
So what you're saying
Just to
is,
be
you're
cute.
gonna eat the goat?
Yeah. Is that 2 Jurassic Park references?
It is.
I don't know if that other one's going to be in this video or the Expo video. Either way.
Watch this guy.
Yep, I see him. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So yeah, we just got tired of suburbia and having my neighbor. Not that my neighbors were bad. We loved both of our neighbors.
They were amazing people. Yep. We love you and miss you.
Yep, Jim. Shout out to Jim and shout out to Ed. I doubt Jim will ever see this, but who knows? But anyway, we got tired of. Yeah, buddy. You gotta speak aloud and tell them.
They had a really big blow-up thing in their backyard, right?
Oh, at Ed's house?
Yeah.
He's remembering a birthday party our neighbor Ed had for one of his kids with a bounce house. Priorities, kids. But yeah, you know, just there's a store in Michigan called Meijer, or if you're from Michigan, Meijer's.
Or if you're Ryan, it's the Blue-Eyed Store.
Or the Blue-Eyed Store, yeah. It's kind of like Walmart. Better because Walmart is gross. I don't like Walmart.
Not Walmart prices.
Nah,
that is for sure.
Not a fan of Walmart. But anyway, the produce, actually everything about Meijer kind of just started sliding downhill. The produce especially was just disgusting. And I saw some things when I was in the alcohol industry. I would be in the back of the house, back side of Meijer, and I saw some gross conditions, and we got fed up with it. We're like, we have 3 to 4 months window to grow food, and really we only get to eat that fresh food for a month or 2 in Michigan, and that really kind of kicked us in gear as far as let's move to Florida.
Well, that and the fresh taste and everything, because you can't beat a fresh tomato or or anything like that. When you buy it from the store, it's all bland and tasteless.
And white. Like, how is a tomato white in the middle? It's disgusting. But being in the subtropic climate of, I believe we're in 9B, zone 9B. Is it 9A?
I'm pretty sure it's 9A.
It's still subtropic, but it's a little colder, unfortunately. But we are able to grow things that we wouldn't be able to grow in Michigan, as well as being able to support a beneficial ecosystem, if you will, on the property. So beneficial ecosystem meaning everything's going to recycle itself. We'll be composting, you know, the manure from the animals will be used, etc. But other than that, like, we picked a beautiful area to live in. Mm-hmm. We're so close to downtown Crystal River. It's like, I don't know that we could have found a better place, and we made some really nice friends pretty early on. You guys have seen Brian and Chase on our channel. Brian's wife Ashley, his son Braden, their daughter, I can't remember her name right now because she hardly ever talks to me. She's a teenager, so. But then, of course, Chase, you know Chase Money, and his fiance Amanda, and their little newborn. I'm very fortunate. I think we're doing pretty good, not even a year in. So, is there anything you want to tell them about you? Give them your background. Tell them about what you've done, your education, anything you want to tell them about. Essentially, this video is going to be a getting to know you. So if you want to tell them anything about your background story so they can get to know you, feel free.
I don't know. I mean, I was born in Connecticut. Parents moved to Michigan. Basically raised in Michigan my entire life.
She's an Army brat. Well,
Navy brat, not Army. You gotta get that right. So raised by both my parents. My parents are still together after all this time. Had a pretty normal, I guess, upbringing. Moved to Fraser, went to school with this guy here.
Yeah, we actually didn't really like hang out in high school either.
No, we knew who each other were, but that's about it. And then, I wanted to go to school to be a chef, like Neil, but then I said I want to have a family one day, and got right out of that. So now I'm going to school for human resources, and I'm a recruiter now, and gonna be going to get my master's as soon as this bachelor's is done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's awesome. I think one of my favorite things about you, other than how hard you work, and I'm gonna put it out there in the ethos, like, you know what my number one pet peeve is when, like, guys are talking about their wives, right?
Complaining about them?
About what they say.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I gotta ask the tower for clearance, or I gotta ask the old ball and chain. Like, I really don't like that, because that tells me that you guys don't trust each other. And I'm sure I'm gonna get it in the comments, you know, oh, I trust my wife. But it shows a level of respect, and that's what I love about my wife. Is we got married, we were 32. Yeah, we've been married almost 8 years. It'll be
next year.
Yeah,
8 years.
But we've been together over 10 years now, and it's just one of those things where you know you can trust your wife, your spouse, your husband, and that's one of the things that really I appreciate about you. Is like, I don't hear any gruff from you when I go fishing, when I go hunting, I'm on the road. Shit, I just did 6 weeks on the road, not a complaint from her. So for me, I think the best thing that's worked out for us is trust, communication to a degree, and of course the understanding, like, hey, you have hobbies, I have hobbies, we have our own friends, and we don't necessarily have to do everything together, and we also encourage each other to do those things, right, without stipulation or anything. So that's something I really appreciate about our relationship.
I appreciate how cute you are.
Well, maybe 6 years ago.
Nah, you're still cute.
Well, thank you. So, I guess I'll cut you off the hook here, because I know you don't like being on camera, or you're not really used to being on camera. Although I am very used to being on camera, so I'm going to let my wife have her leave, and we'll get back together and continue the story. I'd like to talk about why we moved down here, what we're doing down here. Obviously, I told you that, you know, we don't like winter. It's not that we hate Michigan, we just hate winter. So we started researching and figuring out where we were going to move. My wife kind of left it to me, because she knew our goal was to make a homestead, be able to grow and produce as much food as we possibly could on our own, via you know, growing produce, poultry, goats, hunting and fishing, whatever we can. We want to live. Our goal is, after 5 years of being in the house, we want to be 80% self-sufficient. We're not talking like full-on hippie, kick off your shoes, live naked in the woods type stuff. You know, we both have to have internet. She is in HR and she works from home. This bug is crazy. And I have my main content. I come from the content creation side of things. Before content creation, I was in the alcohol industry. I went to culinary school in college. I was a chef for 16 years. I also have a degree in taxidermy. I'm one of very few people you'll ever meet that has a degree in taxidermy. I owned a taxidermy business for a few years in my mid-20s, and that's a whole nother story, but I no longer do taxidermy. This bug is going to become taxidermy if he flies up my nose, though. And then I was in the alcohol industry. I worked for some big name breweries like Dogfish Head, Lagunitas, Ballast Point, Shorts Brewing up in Michigan. international breweries like Hofbrau, Duvel. I worked for a lot of different breweries. I used to grow hops in my yard and everything, and then I kind of fell into content creation by accident. That's a whole story in and of itself, but now this is my business entity here, Impending Duff. That is, I'm a big nerd. I'm a huge nerd. Always have been, always will be. And I play a game called Warhammer 40,000 by a company called Games Workshop in the UK. And for those of you who don't know what Warhammer is, essentially it is, well, for the layman, picture Dungeons and Dragons to a degree, but instead of sitting down and talking about what you're doing, you're building armies. You paint them, and then you roll dice and you fight each other.
Dad, guess what?
What's up?
I cut a cucumber all by myself.
You cut a cucumber all by yourself with a big old chef's knife? Do I get a high five?
It was a big, it was a big short knife.
Mm-hmm. Good job. That's awesome, man. That means dinner's gonna be even better. Good job. Proud of you. So, you build these big armies, you paint them up, and then you pit them against each other, right? And I actually do this. I play the game kind of, I don't want to say professionally, competitively. I'm actually the captain of a team called Death or Glory, and I'm the team captain of the South/Florida chapter. But my content is that I'm a professional painter of these miniatures. I've won dozens and dozens of awards for my painting. I've won best in category, gold medals. I've won all kinds of stuff. And under the name Impending Duff, I do Twitch streaming. I do a little bit of YouTube. I'm on Instagram. But I have an LLC. Like, it's my full-time gig. I do 10 different conventions a year, including Gen Con, which I just came back from a week ago in Indianapolis. That's the big one, kind of like the be-all, end-all gaming convention in North America. It's the second biggest in the world. I do Adepticon in Chicago. I have a contract with a company that works with Royal Caribbean, and I do theme cruises with Royal Caribbean. So I travel a lot. I'm on the road a lot with my miniature painting side. So I'm on the road a lot, and I have contracts with different conventions to teach classes in person and make appearances at these conventions. So that's where I make my main income, if you will. I have a Patreon, you know, the whole content creation side of things. But I've always loved the great outdoors, and I figured this is such a killer opportunity to share my love. And I also really enjoy teaching. I never became a teacher. My mom always said I should be a teacher. She was a teacher. Maybe she's right, because I really do love the Impending Duff thing, teaching people. I really love that. So I figured it'd be a really cool way to teach all of you by filming all of my escapades, hunting, fishing, and homesteading, because I'm learning. And as I'm learning, that information might help someone else, because YouTubers like... It's funny that something's flying over as I'm going to do my shout-outs, because one of the people that inspired me to do this and get down here is Blue Gabe, and it seems like he always has troubles with things flying over. Or Dibs on Bottom also has issues with planes and helicopters flying over. But just big shout outs to people like Rob Arrington, Deer Meat for Dinner, Maine, the first one I ever watched, and I've been watching them for years. Okay, buddy. Blue Gabe, his brother, Gabe Arrington, just the two of them, without their content, I don't know that I would have really been inspired to be where I'm at. Dibs on Bottom I mentioned. I found a lot of you guys through Rob and Gabe. Dibs on Bottom, Tug Trash, Real Cool Adventures, Kelly Young, Joe VT, all these YouTube creators that I follow and watch religiously, just kind of put them in a blender. They're who've inspired me to kind of not only start the channel and share my life and my experience and my family with you guys, but also to a degree inspired getting the, I guess, the engine moving down to Florida. We had already planned on being down here, but I kind of did my research and picked Crystal River based on the energy and excitement that I gained through all of those YouTubers and others. One of my homesteading ones, Little White House on the Hill, I love watching them. Or Bama Bass, he's not really a homesteader, but I've been watching his pond build for over a year now. These content creators are important to me, just as content creators when I was small in the miniature painting world were big influences to me. Now I'm being told that I'm an influence to others, which is weird as hell to me, but I've been doing that side for 6.5 years, something like that. So thank you. If any of you happen to watch my videos, thank you tremendously. I really do appreciate everything you've done. You've probably seen me comment on your videos under the name Impending Duff. As MI Floridian on this channel, I hope to share all the things that I learn and kind of build, if you will, over the next few years with you all. I look forward to enjoying everything that Florida has to offer, everything that my wife and I can build together down here. So that's kind of what this whole thing is about, and I hope you guys enjoy the getting to know you video, post, blog, whatever. But you'll get to know me over the course of my videos. So I appreciate you all being here. Of course, naturally, you gotta hit the thumbs up, because I have to ask you to do that. That's my job, right? Of course, subscribe, please, so you get all of my content. I have 4 or 5 videos lined up for you guys here already, ready to rock and edited. I'm not going to say how often I'm going to upload right now, because I don't know. The bulk of my fishing is done with my buddy Brian, who owns the boat that we fish on. I don't own a boat, so it's really an availability thing. But when we live in Crystal River, I'll be able to bring a ton more content, because I currently live in the villages at my parents' house, like I mentioned, while construction is going down. When the house is done being built, we'll move over into our house. But when I'm in Crystal River, I'll be closer to the ocean, the woods, etc., and I'll be able to bring a lot more content. So with that being said, please subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what I should check out. It's not all going to be hunting and fishing. I might do like a little vacation blog with the family, take the son to go digging for megalodon teeth or whatever. Leave me a comment down below. If you're in Florida, tell me where I should go fishing. I'm looking for somewhere to go shrimping. I'm learning how to throw cast nets. Let me know what you guys want to see. Hit me up in the comments. I usually am pretty active in my content, so it's important to me to be as transparent as possible, as honest and real as possible, and be as accessible as I can within reason. So leaving comments will help me out too, helps with the algorithm, but it also helps me cater my content to what you all want to see from me. And do me a favor, if you can, share this with a friend who is into the outdoors, into fishing, hunting, homesteading, and the like. Help me grow this channel right away so I can bring you better content and hone my skills, maybe bring in more camera work, etc. Would be really cool to push my content, if you will, to a higher level and bring you guys the best viewing experience. That's my job anyway, right? That's all I got to say. I could talk for hours, because it's literally my job when I'm streaming on Twitch to talk, because I have no feedback, right? It's just me and a camera. But I'm going to stop now, because I can see this video is already at 35 minutes, and I've got a bunch of other clips to add to it. So like, subscribe, comment. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Be excellent to each other. I'll catch you on the next one.